milk. It sits in your refrigerator right now, promising strong bones and wholesome nutrition. But what if that carton is hiding something dangerous? From bacterial contamination to hormone-laden formulas that spike blood pressure and stress your kidneys, some milk brands are betraying your trust every single day. Today, we are exposing 9 milk brands seniors must avoid at all costs, and 2 that are actually safe. Coming in at number 9, we have Fairlife Milk. Fairlife built its entire brand on one promise: ultra-filtered, higher-protein, lactose-free milk that is better for you. The sleek bottles line grocery store shelves like glass trophies, each one commanding a premium price tag that suggests you are getting something special. The wholesome farm imagery on their marketing materials shows happy cows grazing in endless green pastures. It all screamed trustworthy. But in 2019, undercover footage from Fair Oaks Farms, a major Fairlife supplier, revealed something that shattered that illusion completely. Workers were caught on camera beating calves with steel rods, throwing them into trucks, and leaving sick animals to suffer without veterinary care. The footage was so disturbing that it sparked nationwide outrage and multiple lawsuits. Animal welfare investigators documented systematic abuse that went far beyond a few bad employees. But here's what most people never learned. The stress hormones released by abused animals can enter the milk supply. Cortisol and adrenaline in dairy have been linked to chronic inflammation. That is the last thing seniors managing arthritis, heart conditions, or autoimmune issues need in their morning coffee. Beyond the animal welfare scandal, Fairlife faced a class action lawsuit over misleading protein claims. Laboratory testing found that some bottles contained significantly less protein than advertised on the label. Independent testing revealed variations of up to 30% less protein than what consumers expected. You paid premium prices for premium nutrition, and you may not have received what you paid for. For seniors counting on that protein to maintain muscle mass and support recovery from illness, those missing grams add up. The smooth, creamy texture of Fairlife feels luxurious on the tongue. The taste is rich, almost sweet because of how they filter out lactose. That pleasant experience masks a brand that broke trust on multiple levels. Pick up a bottle and it feels substantial, premium, worth the extra money. But what you cannot see, taste, or feel is the deception built into every drop. For seniors who depend on accurate nutritional information to manage diabetes, kidney function, or muscle maintenance, inaccurate labeling is not just disappointing, it is dangerous. Fairlife promised farm-fresh integrity. What they delivered was documented cruelty and questionable quality control. The golden glow of their marketing hides a much darker reality. When you pour that milk into your glass, you cannot see the broken promises mixed in with it. At number 8, we have Great Value Milk from Walmart. Great Value is Walmart's store brand, and it dominates American refrigerators because of one thing: price. That familiar yellow label appears on everything from cereal to cleaning supplies. Millions of seniors on fixed incomes reach for that gallon jug because it costs less than name brands. Social Security checks only stretch so far, and saving a dollar here or there adds up. But the question nobody asks is this: why is it so cheap? What exactly are they cutting to hit those price points? Great Value Milk is sourced from multiple dairies across the country, and that decentralized supply chain creates serious quality control problems. When your milk might come from any of dozens of different facilities, maintaining consistent standards becomes nearly impossible. In 2023, the FDA documented multiple instances of inadequate pasteurization temperature monitoring at facilities supplying Walmart's dairy products. Temperature logs showed inconsistent heating that fell below safe thresholds. When pasteurization fails, bacteria like Listeria monocytogenes and Salmonella survive in the milk. They float invisibly in that white liquid, waiting. For a healthy adult, a mild bacterial exposure might cause stomach upset that passes in a day or two. For seniors, especially those taking blood pressure medications, immunosuppressants, or managing chronic kidney disease, Listeria infection can be fatal. The CDC reports that adults over 65 are 4 times more likely to be hospitalized from Listeria than younger populations. That statistic is not abstract. It represents real people who trusted a familiar brand and ended up in emergency rooms. That cheap gallon of milk suddenly becomes an expensive hospital stay, or worse. Consumer complaints on public forums describe finding chunky, sour milk days before the expiration date. Others report a strange metallic aftertaste that should never exist in fresh dairy. One reviewer described opening a new jug and immediately smelling something like old pennies mixed with sour cream. The white liquid looks normal, the jug feels cold, but the invisible contamination risk lurks inside, undetectable until you are already sick. Walmart promises everyday low prices on quality essentials, but when quality suffers to hit price points, Seniors pay the real cost with their health. The great value label suggests you are getting a deal. The reality is that you might be getting a gamble with your well-being as the stakes. Why is it always the cheapest foods that seem to cause the most health problems? Coincidence? Or is something else going on? Now at number 7, we have Horizon Organic Milk. Horizon Organic dominates the organic milk market. Walk into any grocery store in America and you will find their distinctive cartons with those green pastures on the packaging. The happy cows grazing under blue skies, the USDA organic seal prominently displayed. It all promises pure, wholesome dairy, free from hormones and pesticides. Consumers pay premium prices because they believe organic means better. But federal investigations have revealed a troubling gap between promise and practice. In 2022, the USDA revoked organic certification from a major Horizon supplier after investigators found cattle confined in feedlots rather than grazing on pasture as organic standards require. The cows were not living the pastoral life depicted on the packaging. They were standing in crowded pens, eating grain instead of grass, stressed and producing milk under conditions that technically violated organic rules. Investigators documented thousands of animals that had not seen open pasture in months, despite organic certification requiring meaningful outdoor access. Why does this matter for seniors? Grass-fed dairy contains higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids and conjugated linoleic acid, which support heart health and reduce inflammation. Research shows grass-fed dairy can contain up to 3 times more omega-3s than grain-fed alternatives. Grain-fed dairy, even if technically organic, has a less favorable fatty acid profile. The ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats shifts in ways that actually promote inflammation rather than reducing it. Seniors managing cholesterol, blood pressure, or chronic inflammation are paying premium organic prices expecting premium nutrition. And they may not be receiving it. Beyond sourcing issues, Horizon faced lawsuits over misleading DHA claims. The omega-3 fortification in some products came from algal oil, which some consumers argued was not clearly disclosed. The packaging implied the omega-3s came naturally from grass-fed dairy, not from added supplements. For seniors taking blood thinners like warfarin, unexpected omega-3 supplementation can increase bleeding risk. Accurate labeling is not a marketing detail. It is a medical necessity that can affect medication interactions. The milk itself tastes clean, slightly sweeter than conventional dairy, with that characteristic organic richness. Pour it into your coffee and it creates that perfect swirl of white through dark brown. But that pleasant flavor cannot compensate for broken promises about how the cows were raised and what the milk actually contains. Horizon promised organic integrity. Investigators found industrial-scale shortcuts. The pastoral fantasy on the carton does not match the feedlot reality behind the brand. Most people never learn which milk brands are actually safe, but we will break it down at the very end of the video. Stick around because the solution is coming. You do not want to miss the 2 brands that passed every test. Moving to number 6, we have Lactaid milk. Lactaid revolutionized dairy for millions of lactose-intolerant Americans. The promise was simple and appealing. Real milk with the lactase enzyme added so you can digest it without bloating, cramps, or digestive distress. No more avoiding ice cream at family gatherings. No more watching everyone else enjoy cheesy pizza while you sit out. For seniors whose lactose tolerance naturally decreases with age, and studies show up to 70% of adults lose some lactase function as they age, Lactaid seemed like the perfect solution. But in 2021, Lactaid's parent company, HP Hood, recalled multiple batches of their products due to potential contamination with sanitizer chemicals. Sodium hydroxide and other industrial cleaning agents were found in samples pulled from store shelves. Imagine pouring what you think is pure, enzyme-treated milk into your morning cereal, taking that first bite with your fruit and granola, and unknowingly consuming industrial cleaning agents designed to strip grease from factory equipment. Chemical contamination in dairy products can cause gastrointestinal irritation, nausea, and in severe cases, damage to the stomach lining. The symptoms might feel like a bad case of food poisoning. Cramping, burning sensations, persistent nausea. For seniors already managing GERD, ulcers, or taking medications that affect stomach acid like proton pump inhibitors, additional chemical irritation compounds existing problems. Your compromised digestive system has no extra capacity to handle chemical assault. Beyond contamination recalls, some gastroenterologists have raised concerns about long-term lactase enzyme supplementation. The body may reduce its own lactase production when external enzymes are consistently provided, potentially worsening natural lactose intolerance over time. This creates a dependency cycle. Seniors who become dependent on Lactaid may find they tolerate regular dairy even less than before they started. What began as a solution becomes a requirement. The milk tastes almost identical to regular dairy, slightly sweeter because the lactose has been pre-digested into simpler sugars like glucose and galactose. That sweetness feels like freedom from digestive problems, but the taste cannot reveal chemical contamination or the subtle dependency that might be developing with every glass you drink. Lactaid promised digestive comfort without compromise. Recalls and medical concerns suggest the reality is more complicated than the marketing admits. Do you think recalls are just accidents? Or are they the ones they actually got caught on? If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposés. Number 5 is store brand organic milk from Kroger, Safeway, and Albertsons. Store brand organic milk seems like the smart choice. You walk down the dairy aisle and see the familiar organic options at prices several dollars higher than regular milk. Then you spot the store brand. Same USDA organic seal, same promises, lower price. Why pay more for a name? Kroger's Simple Truth, Safeway's O Organics, Albertsons Open Nature. They all promise the same organic standards as expensive national brands at lower cost. Smart shopping, right? But here is what most shoppers do not realize. Many store-brand organic milks are produced by Aurora Organic Dairy, a massive industrial operation that has faced repeated federal scrutiny for organic violations. Aurora operates industrial-scale dairy facilities that look nothing like the small family farms pictured on organic cartons. These are operations with thousands of cattle managed for maximum output. In 2017, the Washington Post investigation found Aurora cattle spending most of their time in feedlots rather than on pasture, directly violating organic grazing requirements. Aerial photographs showed thousands of cows crowded into dirt lots with no visible grass. In 2022, Aurora again faced enforcement action from the USDA for failing to meet organic livestock standards. The pattern of violations spans years. The company supplies milk to multiple grocery chains under various private labels. That means that Simple Truth and O Organics carton might come from the exact same problematic source despite different packaging. For seniors, the deception is financially and medically harmful. You pay extra for organic because you believe it means cleaner dairy, better animal welfare, and higher nutrition. The omega-3 fatty acids, the conjugated linoleic acid, the anti-inflammatory benefits. When industrial-scale producers game the organic system, you lose money and potentially miss out on the genuine health benefits of truly pasture-raised dairy. Your inflammation continues. Your heart health does not improve as expected. According to industry estimates, Aurora Organic Dairy supplies approximately 15% of all organic milk sold in the United States. That statistic should concern every senior who reaches for store-brand organic, assuming it meets the standards the seal promises. 1 in 7 organic cartons potentially comes from facilities with documented violations. The milk looks identical to any other organic option. The packaging features the same pastoral imagery with rolling hills and red barns. But the supply chain behind that carton may trace back to an operation that has repeatedly failed to meet organic standards. Store brands promised organic quality at better prices. Federal investigations reveal they may be delivering neither true organic practices nor the premium nutrition seniors are paying for. Have you ever noticed your milk tasting off before the expiration date? Drop it in the comments below. We want to hear your stories. Coming in at number 4, we have Borden Milk. Borden is one of America's oldest dairy brands. Elsie the cow has smiled from milk cartons since 1936, a friendly mascot that generations grew up trusting. That cartoon cow with her daisy necklace promised wholesome, farm-fresh dairy from a company with nearly a century of experience. Your grandparents drank Borden. Your parents drank Borden. The brand feels like family tradition. But that nostalgic trust has been repeatedly broken by financial instability and quality control failures. Borden filed for bankruptcy in 2020, the second major dairy bankruptcy that year following Dean Foods. The industry was in crisis. When companies face severe financial pressure, quality control and food safety often suffer first. Cutting corners becomes survival strategy. Cost-cutting measures affect everything from pasteurization equipment, maintenance to employee training, to supplier vetting. Quality assurance staff get laid off. Equipment inspections get delayed. Safety margins shrink. Consumer complaints following Borden's financial troubles describe milk that spoils rapidly, sometimes days before the printed expiration date. You buy a gallon expecting it to last the week, and 3 days later you are pouring curdled chunks down the drain. Others report a stale, slightly off smell when opening new cartons. Not quite sour, but not fresh either. a sign of temperature abuse somewhere in the supply chain. Fresh milk should smell clean and neutral, almost sweet. Any sour or stale notes indicate bacterial growth has already begun. For seniors, spoiled milk is not just unpleasant and wasteful, it is dangerous. The bacteria that cause milk to sour can trigger severe gastrointestinal infections. Seniors taking proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux are at particular risk because reduced stomach acid means less protection against foodborne pathogens. Your medication that helps your heartburn simultaneously makes you more vulnerable to contaminated food. Borden's financial recovery remains uncertain, with the brand changing ownership multiple times since bankruptcy. Different management teams, different priorities, different quality standards. That instability creates ongoing quality control risks as new management implements changes across production facilities. The milk looks normal in the jug. The familiar Elsie logo suggests decades of trustworthy tradition. But financial distress and inconsistent quality reveal a brand that cannot guarantee the safety it once promised. Elsie the cow smiles on the carton. The reality behind that smile is a company in turmoil, delivering unpredictable quality to seniors who deserve better than gambling with their breakfast. At number 3, we have Dean's Milk. Dean Foods was once the largest dairy processor in the United States, supplying milk to grocery stores nationwide under the Dean's brand and numerous regional labels. They processed millions of gallons daily. Their trucks were everywhere. That dominance collapsed in 2019 when Dean Foods filed for bankruptcy, sending shockwaves through the entire dairy industry. A giant had fallen, and the aftermath affected millions of consumers who depended on their products. The bankruptcy revealed years of declining quality standards as the company struggled to remain profitable. When profits vanish, corners get cut. FDA inspection records from Dean's facilities in the years before bankruptcy documented equipment maintenance failures, pasteurization machinery showing wear, inadequate sanitation procedures with cleaning protocols shortened or skipped, employee training deficiencies as experienced workers left and were not properly replaced. When a company is fighting for survival, food safety investments become casualties of the budget wars. Following bankruptcy, Dean's production facilities were acquired by different companies in different regions, fragmenting quality control further. The unified system that once ensured consistency fell apart. The Dean's milk you buy in Texas may come from completely different ownership and management than Dean's milk in Ohio. That inconsistency means quality varies wildly depending on your location, and you have no way to know which version you are getting. The label looks identical everywhere. Consumer reports describe finding milk with unusual textures, slightly grainy, like drinking liquid that has tiny particles suspended in it. Others noticed visible specks that should never appear in properly processed dairy. Some report inconsistent taste between purchases, suggesting batch-to-batch quality variation that should not exist in a professional dairy operation. One week it tastes fine, the next week something is off. For seniors managing diabetes, the protein and carbohydrate content of milk matters for blood sugar control. Your dietitian gave you specific guidelines. Inconsistent processing could mean inconsistent nutrition, making it harder to maintain stable glucose levels. Dean's promised reliable dairy from America's largest processor. Bankruptcy and fragmented ownership have left behind a brand that cannot guarantee consistent safety or quality. The gallon jug looks normal on the shelf. The price seems reasonable. But the instability behind the brand means every purchase is a gamble that seniors should not have to take with their health. Do not go yet. The 2 milk brands that actually passed safety tests are coming at the very end, and knowing them could change how you shop forever. Stay with us. Number 2 on our list is Hood Milk, HP. Hood has been producing dairy in New England since 1846. That is nearly 200 years of dairy production. The brand promises farm-fresh quality from a company with deep roots in American history. Their red packaging is iconic in the Northeast. Generations have grown up drinking Hood milk, but recent recalls and inspection failures reveal that heritage does not guarantee safety. Age and experience mean nothing if systems break down. In 2023, Hood recalled multiple dairy products due to potential foreign material contamination, specifically small plastic pieces from processing equipment that may have entered the milk supply. Processing machinery had degraded, and fragments broke off into the product stream. Imagine swallowing a sharp plastic fragment with your morning cereal. For seniors with digestive conditions, dentures, or swallowing difficulties, foreign material contamination poses serious physical harm risks. A plastic shard could lacerate your esophagus or puncture your stomach lining. Beyond physical contamination, FDA inspection records document instances of inadequate temperature control during Hood's milk processing. Temperature monitoring logs showed fluctuations outside acceptable ranges. Milk must be rapidly cooled after pasteurization to prevent bacterial regrowth. The window is narrow. When cooling systems fail or operate inconsistently, bacteria that survived pasteurization can multiply to dangerous levels before the milk reaches your refrigerator. You buy it cold, thinking it is safe. Psychotrophic bacteria are cold-loving microorganisms that grow even at refrigerator temperatures. Most people do not realize that some bacteria thrive in the cold. They are particularly concerning in improperly cooled dairy. These bacteria produce heat-stable toxins that remain dangerous even if you heat the milk later. Cooking does not save you. For seniors with compromised immune systems, these toxins can cause severe gastrointestinal illness that requires hospitalization. The milk itself appears normal. The texture is smooth, the color consistent white, the smell neutral when fresh. Everything looks fine, but contamination, whether physical or bacterial, hides in plain sight. Hood's New England heritage and familiar red packaging suggest trustworthy tradition. Recalls and inspection failures tell a different story, one of aging equipment and quality control gaps that put consumers at risk. 177 years of dairy production, and they still cannot guarantee plastic-free milk. That failure speaks louder than any heritage marketing. Isn't it strange how billion-dollar food companies keep having recalls, yet their products are still on every shelf the next week? What is the worst thing you have ever found in your milk? Tell us your story in the comments. We read everyone. And at number 1, the worst of them all, Dairy Pure milk. Dairy Pure positioned itself as America's largest fluid milk brand, promising purity and quality backed by a 5-point purity promise. The marketing was sophisticated and reassuring. No artificial growth hormones. All milk tested for antibiotics. Continuously quality tested. Cold shipped from your local dairy. Fresh from cows on American farms. 5 promises printed on every carton. 5 reasons to trust them. That promise collapsed along with Dean Foods, Dairy Pure's parent company, in the 2019 bankruptcy. The company that made all those guarantees no longer existed in the same form. But even before financial failure, Dairy Pure's quality claims faced serious challenges that most consumers never heard about. Laboratory testing by independent consumer groups found that Dairy Pure's antibiotic testing claims were technically true but deliberately misleading. All milk sold in the United States is required by law to be tested for antibiotics. Every dairy company must test. Dairy Pure's promise was simply restating a legal requirement as if it were a special commitment they had made, like a car company promising that their vehicles have wheels. The 5-point purity promise was largely marketing language describing minimum industry standards that everyone had to meet anyway. More troubling, the localized supply chain that Dairy Pure advertised created quality control challenges. Different regional processing facilities operated under different management with varying standards. What passed inspection in one state might not have passed in another. Consumer complaints document wildly inconsistent experiences depending on where the milk was purchased. Some reporting excellent quality, others describing rapid spoilage, off flavors, or unusual textures. Same brand, completely different products. For seniors relying on consistent nutrition to manage chronic conditions, this variability is unacceptable. You cannot plan meals, manage medications, or maintain stable health when the food supply is unpredictable. Your doctor gave you dietary guidelines based on consistent nutrition. But how do you follow those guidelines when the same brand delivers different nutrition every time? The bankruptcy also revealed that Dairy Pure had been quietly reducing costs by extending supply chain distances. Milk marketed as locally sourced sometimes traveled much farther than consumers realized. That freshness claim was misleading. Longer transport times at variable temperatures increase bacterial growth risk. Every hour matters. Every temperature fluctuation compounds the problem. Dairy Pure's marketing painted a picture of exceptional purity and quality. The reality was average standards dressed up in premium language, delivered by a company too financially stressed to guarantee consistency. The white liquid looks pure. The branding emphasizes cleanliness in American farms. But behind that wholesome image was a company making promises it could not keep to seniors who trusted the label. Every promise on the carton, every point of that purity pledge, either restated legal minimums or proved impossible to verify. That is not transparency. That is betrayal dressed up as honesty. Now, finally, the 2 milk brands that actually deliver on their promises. The ones with verified safety records, consistent quality, and genuine transparency that seniors can trust. These brands have earned your confidence through actions, not just marketing. The first safe option is Organic Valley Milk. Organic Valley is a farmer-owned cooperative, not a corporation answering to shareholders demanding ever higher profits at the expense of quality. That ownership structure creates fundamentally different incentives. Wall Street does not control their decisions. When farmers own the company, cutting corners on quality hurts themselves directly. Their reputation, their livelihood, their community all depend on getting it right. The cooperative includes over 1,700 small family farms across the United States, all following strict organic standards with regular third-party audits. Real inspectors visit real farms and verify actual practices. Unlike industrial organic operations that have faced federal scrutiny, Organic Valley farms are small enough for meaningful oversight. Inspectors can actually see every pasture. Cows genuinely graze on grass because farmers take pride in traditional practices that their families have followed for generations. Independent laboratory testing consistently confirms Organic Valley milk contains higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids and conjugated linoleic acid compared to conventional dairy. Those are the actual nutritional benefits organic promises, but industrial organic often fails to deliver. The testing numbers are public and verifiable. For seniors managing inflammation, heart health, or cholesterol, these nutritional advantages matter. The anti-inflammatory compounds actually exist in meaningful quantities. Organic Valley maintains complete supply chain transparency. You can trace your milk back to specific farms and verify practices. Their website lets you look up exactly where your milk came from. That accountability does not exist with industrial dairy brands. FDA inspection records show consistently strong performance at Organic Valley processing facilities. The cooperative invests in equipment maintenance and employee training because quality failures would hurt farmer owners directly. Their money is on the line. The milk tastes rich and clean, with a depth of flavor that industrial dairy cannot match. You can taste the difference. The cream naturally rises to the top in whole milk versions. That is a sign of minimal processing that preserves nutrients. No tricks, no shortcuts, no pretending. For seniors who want genuine organic integrity, verified nutrition, and traceable quality, Organic Valley delivers what other brands only promise. The second recommendation is Maple Hill Organic Milk. Maple Hill specializes exclusively in 100% grass-fed organic dairy. While other organic brands allow grain supplementation and still call themselves organic, Maple Hill cows eat only grass and forage throughout their entire lives. Not mostly grass, not primarily grass, only grass. That absolute commitment produces milk with a distinct nutritional profile that you can literally see. 100% grass-fed dairy contains up to 5 times more conjugated linoleic acid than conventional milk, along with significantly higher omega-3 levels and better omega-6 to omega-3 ratios. These differences directly impact inflammation levels in your body. That is critical for seniors managing arthritis, cardiovascular disease, or autoimmune conditions. The nutritional science is clear and well documented. Maple Hill works exclusively with small family farms in New York's Hudson Valley and surrounding regions. Beautiful farming country with ideal conditions for grass-fed dairy. Every farm undergoes annual third-party certification audits verifying grass-fed practices. No exceptions, no shortcuts, no looking the other way. The company publishes detailed sourcing information, allowing consumers to verify claims independently. Transparency is built into their business model. Processing occurs at small-scale facilities with excellent FDA inspection records. Maple Hill uses low-temperature pasteurization, which preserves more beneficial enzymes and proteins than standard ultra-pasteurization while still meeting all safety requirements. They chose quality over convenience. The slightly shorter shelf life is worth the nutritional benefits. The milk has a distinctly golden tint from beta-carotene in grass. That color is visual proof of genuine grass feeding that you cannot fake. Industrial dairy is stark white. Grass-fed dairy glows golden. The flavor is creamy and complex, with subtle sweetness and none of the flat taste common in industrial dairy. For seniors who want maximum nutritional benefits from their dairy, verified animal welfare, and consistent quality backed by transparent sourcing, Maple Hill sets the standard that other brands should follow but rarely do. Not all milk is created equal. Some brands are quietly putting your health at risk while others genuinely deliver safety and nutrition. The difference is knowing what to look for and which cartons to avoid. Your refrigerator should not be a gamble. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.